Good morning, everybody. It's Angie Pettyjohn of the Pettyjohn team of Mortgage Alliance. Welcome to episode 14 of my Friday morning chat with Angie. I took a little hiatus and I'm back now. Hope everyone had a wonderful summer. I'm so honored and pleased today to have with us Victoria Pettyjohn, our dedicated underwriter. Hi, Victoria. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks. Good. I wanted the opportunity to, first of all, introduce you. Everybody sees Angie of the Pettyjohn team, and it's so great to have Victoria here with us because she's a very, very valuable member of our team. She does everything behind the scenes, and that's what I wanted to talk to you all about today and bring her on. So, Victoria, you're my dedicated underwriter, and we're so blessed to have you. Do you want to go through your role? Because I really, sometimes when I'm talking to clients, I'm not sure they really understand what underwriter means. We know that in our field, but what is it that you do for us?
Yeah, so an underwriter, there's basically five, I guess, key roles of an underwriter. So there's like once the client has their pro bono conversation with you, there's the document collection phase. So I send out that email, get all the documents in. Then once we get all the documents, I start the underwriting process. And that is I go through and I crunch all the numbers. I see and then after crunching all the numbers, send the client their options, letting them know what their maximum mortgage is and if they do qualify for what they actually want. Then it's lender placement and figuring out which lender and what product works best for the client based on all of our conversations and emails with them. And then after that, it's the lender fulfillment. So it is fulfilling all the conditions that haven't been met already from the lender once we receive that approval. And then finally, it is going through the sign-up package and preparing all the bajillion documents that the client has to sign at the end.
Yeah, bajillion is a key word. So I know when I'm speaking to the clients, because I see them at the beginning of the process and then in between I'm talking to them. The document collection phase, in my opinion, is key, but it's also can be very daunting. And I know when I speak to them, give them some tips. What are those tips that we provide for our clients so that we can help the journey through from the pre-approval to a full approved mortgage?
Yeah, so probably the biggest tip that I can always give clients is to always have your documents in one place. So if you have 2 or 3 properties, all your income documents. So we always ask for specific things like your notice of assessments from last year to make sure that there's no income tax owing. So knowing exactly where those are or where you can get them is key, because I find that that is the most stressful part for clients is they see this list and they have no idea where they're going to get those from. And yeah, that's probably the biggest tip I can have for them.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, even if it's just putting the documents in a file folder, doesn't have to be something fancy in Dropbox or Cloud or whatever the heck it is that we we save them in. I have them in a file, so I'm old school. Yeah, that's one of our key things. I would say as well is to make sure that they know where all of those documents are, so that, listen, there's no getting around it. You have to come up with the income documents. You have to come up and show the bank statements. Actually, that's another key point is the bank statements.
Yeah, so it's knowing that we will ask for a 90-day history of all your bank statements. So your down payment, if there's a deposit, every lender has a different guideline, but it's all basically 90 days.
Yeah.
And we will let you know the exact time frame that we need and when we need these documents.
That's
It
right.
may not be all up front, but it's knowing that if you have a lot of them now, especially because of COVID, they're flagging deposits that are $3,000 or more. So it's knowing that on June 21st, I gave so-and-so a deposit of $3,500 because I was paying them back. It's knowing your explanations and understanding that we will actually need to ask you about all that stuff, as little as it may seem.
Yeah. And no blacking anything out, no
Yeah.
scratching anything out.
Yeah.
Very
No blacking it
clear.
out. Don't
Yeah,
highlight on it. You don't need to put anything on it.
yeah,
We'll do it all. We just need clean copies of your bank statements.
exactly, exactly. So just to sum up then, that part of it though is really once they put an offer in. On the onset, after they've spoken to me on that discovery call or the pro bono call, as you called it earlier, um, it's making sure that they have the documents set somewhere so that they can swiftly send them over to you. And in our guideline with the Pettyjohn team, I also call this the Pettyjohn team. The Pettyjohn team is that what is our, oh my gosh,
No docs, no dollars.
yeah, no docs, no dollars. So what I was going to say was um, our guideline is 48 hours to 72
Oh.
hours after you give us the documents. Victoria will start working on your file. It's there's, we get lots of files that come in, and I can't tell you, that's a rookie mistake actually, is to start working on a file before we have all the documents, because numerous times in my early years, someone would say that they made 60,000 and that included bonus, which basically throws off the whole underwriting, doesn't it, Victoria?
Yeah,
So
it does.
we're not being mean or rude about it. We're just trying to do the best that we can with the information that you give us, and we don't want to waste any time in between. So we've covered document collection, and do you have any other advice for people putting in offers in properties or anything like that?
I would always say do at least a minimum 5-day condition of finance, because even though we try to pre-approve you and get every single document and question out of the way in the initial process, that just allows the lender 5 days to review. So they're basically, we underwrite it and then the lender underwrites it. So it gives that 5 days, give the lender time to review the property, to review all your income documents and every other document that we submit, and make sure that it actually does fit with their policies. Especially now because of COVID, a
Yeah.
lot of policies have changed, and a lot of things like even like we don't realize have changed in lenders' policies. Just the little minute things could just throw
Yeah.
a complete file off.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Very few files that I've ever felt really confident to say, yeah, you have the information yourself. Go ahead, and if you want to waive that condition, that's up to you. And that's a good point, though. Waiving condition, we're liable for that. So I am not in a position to tell the client to waive condition. We provide the options, we provide them the information. Now, based on that information, they can then speak to their real estate agent on how far they want to go, whether they want to go firm or not. But that's not really on us to tell them to waive condition. So, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's always an interesting phone call. What, Victoria, this process of underwriting, you're talking about the 5 days, but really underwriting starts way, way in advance. So what do you recommend that clients do?
So I always recommend that clients like know their numbers before they go into a purchase. So if they're really unsure, especially some of our first-time home buyers that are just getting out of university, let's say, and they want to buy their first home, it's like even coming to us like 6 months to a year before you actually want to start looking
Good point.
can help your process along. It gets you talking about it, gets you thinking. There's a bunch of different words that you may not understand and terminology, and it allows us to like go through that whole process with you and bring it through step by step. One of the other things with coming early is that it allows us to pre-approve you in a sense and underwrite your credit bureau and your income. So we go through your credit bureau line by line, and we make sure that there's no missed payments, nothing's been deferred because of COVID, then making sure that you have nothing on there that isn't correct. We've had clients where they didn't realize they missed their credit card payment for the last 6 months because there was only like a $4 balance on there. We've had that, and that dropped their credit score dramatically. There's just things like that on there that you don't realize, or there's a card that was supposed to be closed down and then is still on there. So you have to call Equifax or TransUnion, get it off. It takes a while. And then with the income too, it helps us. So if you have certain types of income, so the easiest to pre-approve are the full-time salaried. You get straight up, that's your base salary. Those are easy. So if you get into bonus, overtime, your part-time, your hourly, all those kind of fluctuating incomes, then we need to look at, self-employed like us.
Whole other ballgame.
Then it's like, then it's a 2-year average. So we can even recommend, look, you don't qualify for something this year, but if you wait until your 2020s come out, well, maybe you can qualify for X based on the rate that you're going.
Right.
So it just gives us a little bit more to work with.
Yeah. And we've even gone so far as to say to them, look, this is what you're going to have to T4 yourself for the next couple of years and then come back to us. So going back to the question, you know, it's never too early to look at your numbers, to review your numbers. And then every so often come back and we'll do a mortgage checkup for you to see where you stand. Pulling Equifax, for example, a consumer report, do it yourself. Follow your own credit bureau to make sure that there's nothing going on there that is going to surprise you when you finally make the decision to take the plunge in purchasing. That's awesome, Victoria. I also had another note here about talking about the pre-approval. So now we've gone through our process. You've pre-approved. They're ready to go, and we say that they're qualified for, you know, their $500,000 mortgage. What advice do you have at that stage?
So the biggest thing that we always say is do not change anything. Do not go out and buy all that fancy furniture that you think is going to fill your new place and charge it to every single credit card you have and max it out. Yeah. Don't go buy a car lease or buy a car and get a lease on it, especially without talking to us first. Like if we say, yeah, you know what, your numbers work with buying that car with this payment, then it should be okay, but always talk to us first. But the main advice is do not change anything. This pre-approval is based on this snapshot of you at this time.
Yeah, and especially nowadays with COVID going on, the lender can actually pull your bureau again later on. That we've heard that's been happening, especially if you know ratios are pretty tight. They do have the right to do that, so you have to be careful on that. Well, this has been awesome, Victoria. I know we went through a few things. I think that's it for this evening. Thanks so much for coming on. I you know how I feel about you. First of all, you're my daughter, but beyond that, being my business partner and my partner in crime in this has been an absolute blessing and a joy for me to watch you grow in this business. It's just been, you've blown my mind. You know, you started off as being my admin assistant way back when, doing a little bit of social media. And once you've completed university, coming back and saying, you know what, let's try this as an admin assistant, and quickly just picking everything up. You know, I couldn't be more proud of you. And I think for us, you know, people always say to me, what's so special about the Pettyjohn team? And really what you see is what you get with us, isn't it? We're truly down to earth, caring individuals. And I think every single person that comes our way, we're looking at them like it's our own family, it's our own mortgage, and we would never sway them in a direction because that's going to be you know, a paycheck. I don't think we've ever looked at any file that way where go lender A versus lender B because that was going to be, you know, a paycheck. None of our clients are transactional to us. They're really, their names, there's people, their families, and so we're just so honored and so absolutely blessed that way. So anyhow, thank you everybody for joining me on episode 14 of Friday Morning Chat with Angie. Thank you, Victoria, again. And I guess we'll see you at episode 15. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.